Hi everyone, my name is Melanie Weineck. I'm a nurse at the Mass General Cancer Center at Newton Wellesley Hospital. I took the Mind Body Health course through the Mass General Institute of Health. I learned a lot about the mind body connection, and I'm so excited to share with you. My personal wellness journey has been very hilly. Sometimes I'm on the bandwagon, and sometimes I'm in a phase where I'm completely off of it. It really ebbs and flows. I must say, connecting with others over wellness activities helps to hold myself accountable. I practice what I preach, but I'm nowhere near perfect. So, thank you for welcoming me to the Paving the Path to Wellness group. It can be really hard to connect from a vulnerable space. This program holds a lot of information, so anything that you take away from it and implement into your life is a win. Having a cancer diagnosis can bring up feelings of a loss of control and an array of fears, especially regarding recurrence. So remember, you started surviving cancer the day that you were diagnosed. Our hope is that the Paving the Path to Wellness program will help you control what you can, cope with what you cannot, in leading a healthy lifestyle of your mind, body, and spirit. So thank you all for participating. This week's focus is on attitude. Sometimes it can be hard to separate an attitude from an emotion. Hopefully, this week's information and exercise will help you shift your focus into when you can choose your attitude. Sometimes we think being positive and bubbly just is not my personality, or the opposite, that feeling down and negative just isn't me. But it's a really good reminder that we all can experience the full emotional spectrum. There's this concept in mindfulness that we will practice that enables us to acknowledge an emotion and then choose how we will react. Practices to adjust attitude can sometimes relieve suffering, even if they feel really weird and uncomfortable at first. In the PowerPoint, you discuss the concept of ANTs, automatic negative thoughts. Many aspects of attitude and mindfulness are to help us see our thoughts as thoughts. They may not always be true. They're simply our perception in that moment. It took me a very long time to call out my gremlins. I was constantly judging others, talking down on myself, which I thought was only in my head, but it led to failed relationships, failed tests, mistakes, and even still, I have to try really hard to catch the gremlins in the moment before they spiral out of control and create my reality. However, I do believe that they serve a purpose. They protect me and they warn me. When I had first learned of this concept, I made a dramatic change to always switch to the inner princess voice. It felt unnatural and out of touch with reality for me. I think it's important to notice the gremlins and then question them. Is this person or situation unsafe? Or can I let this thought go? If we don't keep our gremlins in check, they can take control and hinder us from feeling joy. Sometimes it doesn't always matter what got us into this negative thinking pattern, but to push its boundary by questioning it and letting our inner cheerleader peek through. I highly recommend the podcast called The One You Feed. Each episode starts with a parable. An old man told his grandson, "My son, there's an endless battle that goes on inside of all of us. It is between two wolves. One is the bad wolf. He is anger, envy, regret, greed, arrogance, resentment, lies, superiority, ego. And the other is the good wolf. He is joy, peace, love, hope, serenity, humility, kindness, empathy, generosity, truth, compassion, and faith. The grandson thought about it and asked his grandfather, "Which wolf will win?" The old man answered, "The one you feed." So they interviewed different people on their perspective of this parable, which is very similar to the concept of gremlins and cheerleaders. And if you haven't heard of the Happiness Lab yet, it's another really useful podcast by psychologist Dr. Laurie Santos, who discusses different aspects of happiness and psychology. Sometimes negative thinking can take us down a rabbit hole so far into the future that hasn't even happened yet. So it's important to remember to stay present in your storyline. I remind myself of this constantly, legitimately 10 times a day or more. So I try to acknowledge the emotions, inner chatter, and then choose what my attitude will be. Doing this is actually a mindfulness activity. So there are some practices that can help empower the inner good wolf that are listed in the workbook. And then if you wanted to try to practice one of the following writing prompts, one is on a piece of paper, write down the pits of your day. On another piece of paper, write down your peaks of the day. So the good things are the peaks and the lower points are the pits. Grumble up the pits and throw them in the recycling bin. Another one is to think of a challenge that you are facing. Write reasons why you've totally got this. And really pep yourself up about why you're going to be able to conquer this challenge. Whether it's emotional or physical, a difficult person. And the third exercise is to practice writing a gratitude letter to yourself. So writing qualities that you appreciate and value about yourself. Practicing a gratitude journal can feel weird at first. It's the practice of writing down 1 to 10 positive moments of the day and what you feel grateful for. I started doing this because I won a Sports Illustrated desk calendar at a Yankees swap, and I was like, what am I even going to do with this? So I started writing down positive moments of each day. After a breakup and in a downtime, it actually really helped me shift into positive thinking, and I started to be able to remind myself to do it even without the calendar. So, practicing any of these activities, just notice how your perspective shifts afterwards. You might not notice a change right away, but see if you notice anything. So, laughter yoga is a thing that exists. It's essentially forcing yourself to laugh. Your body doesn't know a huge difference between fake and real laughing, so it can help release tension, it can help shift your attitude, and can help you feel more joyful. So, someone will typically lead you through a series of laughter practices. I'll attach a video for a laughter yoga exercise. You might end up laughing at how ridiculous the activities are, but it still gets the job done. The point is to laugh. So it's okay if you're laughing because you're following along, or if you're laughing because you think it's a funny activity. So I'm sharing with you Bianca Spears' laughter yoga. She teaches breathing and laughing exercises. She has us practice different laughs like a ventriloquist with a puppet. So she makes you do high-pitched, low-pitched, mouth closed. So if you're in a private space, I'll do a little clip from her video if you want to practice along with me for just a few short exercises. If you get your puppet and pretend that you're a ventriloquist for a minute, and we'll start slow. Ha, ha, ha. And you can try if you want to. Ha, ha, ha. And then we'll try making it do a low-pitched laugh. Ha, ha, ha. And again. Ha, ha, ha. And you can try a high-pitched. Hee 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 hee. And you can try hee 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 hee. And maybe it wants to do an evil laugh. Mwahahaha. And you can try mwahaha. Mwahaha. So that activity might not be for you, but if you still want to laugh, you can enjoy watching the video that I attached. It's actually a favorite of one of the doctors who works here. So it's natural and uplifting to hear other people laugh. It can also help us feel connected to our inner joy and our inner child. Sometimes you won't need such a structured activity, but it's the awareness to know when you need an attitude adjustment and how to snap yourself out of it. For me, I know that reggae music can turn my attitude around. It reminds me of happy times and going to concerts with my mom. It usually makes me feel connected to the ocean and like I'm on island time. Listening to reggae music is a tool that I can pull out when I know that I need an attitude change. So your homework over the next week is to make yourself laugh or try out one of the gratitude journal or writing prompt exercises. If they're not for you, that's okay. We're going to go through a lot of activities and resources in this course, so hopefully at least one will resonate with you. So the workbook also suggests doing the 4-7-8 breathing activity. So we're just going to do a short little practice of it just so that you can understand the mindset of it. It involves breathing in for 4 seconds, holding for 7, and breathing out for 8 seconds. So you may find that these numbers don't work for you and it might not feel good to hold for 7 and breathe out for 8. So you can change the seconds to whatever works best for you. So we're just going to give it a try. If you get into a comfortable position, have your feet on the floor. We're going to practice breathing in for 4 seconds. So breathe in, holding for 7, and breathing out for 8. And we'll do it again. Breathe in for 4 seconds, hold for 7, and breathing out for 8. And again, breathing in for 4, holding for 7, and breathing out for 8. And you can let your breathing return to a normal breathing pattern for you. Sometimes people will practice breathing into their belly or into their chest. Some people just want to take a deep breath and not try to control their breath, but notice how you feel. If you notice any shifts. And that was just practicing 3 breaths. So this is just a quick and readily available exercise that you might like to practice. And many people might think that I'm not good at meditation, or my mind wanders too much. I can't sit there and think about nothing. But that's really the point. Your brain is supposed to wander. The point of a practice like this is to help train your brain so it trains you how to focus, redirect your focus. When you notice your mind has wandered off, you bring it back to the practice. It also helps activate your parasympathetic nervous system, which helps you feel calm and rejuvenated, relaxed. So we're going to go through many more mindfulness exercises throughout this course. And this was just a quick, easy introductory practice, just to get you in the feel for it. So I hope that this was beneficial for you today, and thank you for practicing with me.